The issue isn't that we have troubling thoughts or that we experience difficult or painful emotions, because of course we do. We are human in a complex world of experiences and relationships and situations and instability. It's the nature of living this human life. The issue is not that we have the troubling thoughts or that we experience the difficult emotions. The issue is that we fight them. I invite you to imagine a placid pond. This is the essential nature of our being, prior to our thoughts and feelings, beyond the thoughts and feelings that come and go. The essential nature of us is stillness. It is the nature of consciousness, often referred to as the unconditional loving awareness. It is the presence of awareness that does not change, no matter what thought moves through it or what feeling moves through it. The essential nature of our being, the awareness, the consciousness of our being, remains at peace. And so I invite you to imagine a placid pond as the essence of your being. And then imagine that an event happens, a stone falls into the pond, and it creates ripples. Big ripples, small ripples, some stones seem larger than others. Some triggered events and feelings are larger than others, but there's ripples on the pond. If we come to recognize ourselves as the pond, then we can witness the troubling thoughts, the difficult emotions as they arise and then pass. We can witness them and not get so engaged in them. And getting engaged in them would be like feeling those ripples on the pond and saying, oh, I don't like this. I don't like this. They need to go away. I need to make them disappear. And imagine taking your hands and physically trying to smooth out the ripples on the pond. You would only cause more ripples. There's a beautiful phrase that says, if you leave your thoughts alone, they will leave you alone. To be the unwavering placidity of peace and awareness and consciousness that notices the entirety of the human experience without needing to fight it or resist it, is peace. That's freedom. And when we can remain at peace and notice the ripples, be very aware of the thoughts and the feelings and what is moving through the experience, our experience. When we can remain at peace and not immediately resist and fight, when we can allow, it gives us the opportunity to then start to look at what was that stone that fell into my pond of placidity and triggered these ripples of thought and these ripples of emotion. What was the stone? From where did these thoughts and emotions originate? And we can look back and we can start to do our work and recognize, oh, that's that belief system that I adopted when I was young that came from the way I was treated, the way I was raised, the things I was taught, the traumas that I experienced, the things that my young mind couldn't make sense of, couldn't figure out when I was young. So then I adopted stories about my unworthiness and my unlovability and my need to be perfect in order to be loved, and what it means to be accepted and what it means to belong. We can start to take a look and we can start to witness the thoughts and the emotions, and then look at and ask, wait, what is the origination of this thought? Who's throwing the stone? Oh, that's coming from my younger self under these certain conditions. And when we really see the origination of what is ultimately our conditioning and our programming and our belief systems, which are all just mind activity, when we can see the origination, we can start to see it as the untruth that it is. Oh, I learned to feel this about myself, let's say, a sense of needing to perform to be loved, needing to reach certain levels of perfection, which of course we can never reach, because we always feel the conditioning says you need to be better than you are to be loved. And then whatever level we reach, the conditioning says it doesn't matter where you are, you need to be better than where you are to be loved. So we can look at that and say, oh, that came from Dad. And he was actually doing his best. We're never blaming the parents. We're just acknowledging, recognizing the dynamics of what goes into the egoic construct. And we can look and we say, you know what? The message I kept getting from Dad was, good job, but if you want to be even more loved, you'll do better. Or you didn't give it your all, you could have been better. And if you do, I will love you more. And that's such a subtle little thing. But we start to recognize, oh, wow, that's a programming that is then being played out when a certain circumstance happens in life, when I attempt something and I reach some level of success or failure, and that triggers within me these ripples, these feelings, these thoughts of, yeah, I'm still not good enough. I should have done better. Maybe it triggers shame. When we get caught up in the thoughts and the feelings and fight them and try to make them go away, like running our hands across these ripples and wondering why they're not smoothing out, we are missing the opportunity to sit in the placidity of the pond, our essential nature, and notice, ooh, there's a disturbance. What caused the disturbance? What was that stone that fell into my pond of placidity? What programming, what conditioning, what trauma, what experience? And when we do that more and more and more, what used to seem like a real solid stone, because we never looked at it, we never looked and saw into it and asked, is that true? Does that have any real substance to it? If we've never looked at it, it's a solid stone that falls into our pond of placidity, a solid belief, a solid programming. I need to be perfect in order to be loved. I need to be better than I am in order to be accepted. But when we start to look at it and see its origins and where it came from, and that it really has no substance, it's just what we were taught. It's just what we were told, what our young, impressionable, and innocent mind took in and started to adopt as belief systems. When we do that, what once was a solid stone becomes lighter or smaller, less heavy, less dense. And it'll come again, it'll drop in again, but then we notice it again and we see it for what it is, and it loses some of its weight. It loses some of its solidity, some of its density. And after a while, that old thought, it loses its power to push you around, to sway you, to cause such ripples of mental and emotional distress and unease. So it starts with the practice and the devotion to recognize the ripples of our thoughts and emotions that are sometimes that feel troubling or disturbing or disempowering or frightening or shameful. To notice them from the placidity of awareness of peace, the essential nature of our being. And to not fight them, to not give them such authority that we start to try to push them around with our other thoughts. Just thoughts battling thoughts. Which thought is going to win? Which feeling is going to win? And we're just creating more ripples. Pay attention, be aware, witness, allow. And that gives us the ability to then really contemplate and explore and do some healing. Because we can start to look back and say, wait a minute, that triggering stone that fell into my pond of placidity and caused these ripples, does it have any real substance? Where did it come from? And we can start to see, oh my God, it's just a belief system that I've adopted because I didn't know any better when I was younger. But now I do, and I know my truth. And I'm going to stay rested as the placidity of grace and love and peace that I am. And I will recognize that ripples are going to come, but I don't have to fight them. They will smooth out on their own. And then I can look at the cause of the ripples and start to dismantle and deconstruct those so they no longer can cause such disturbances in my sense of being. All right, my friends, be well. Enjoy being the placidity of peace that you are. And just notice all the thoughts and all the feelings and all the human experiences that come and go and arise and pass and are born and die. And you are the peaceful awareness of it all. All right, be well.